Hey everyone, Samuel Peterson here. So if I ever go into making this movie here, right, I'm gonna want to have a name. But what should I name it? Well, one thing you can think about, or one thing if I'm trying to think about, like, because, well, in past times, I've had times where I would, look at, say, the track of a music, and that would maybe give me a name that I like. And while that may get you to a point, using that exact name isn't exactly original, and it's not your name that you came up with. It's someone else's from a music track or a different movie, right? Of course, if it's from like a different movie that you saw and you renamed it to show and reenact or whatever, show people, that's maybe to like your friends and family. You, like that's one thing people will do. But if you're trying to make something and maybe come up with something original, well, taking another person's or company's track or title of anything wouldn't exactly be completely original. I've had this happen before though, where I have seen like music tracks per se. If I'm, and then I see it, I'm like, oh wow, that's an interesting name, and then you want to go with that, and then you maybe if you start building your story around that track, and you're like, oh, I just want that, I just want to, I'm building that story around that title, and then when you find out, okay, I should probably change it. Well, what do you do? Now, that's not to say that these things can't get you to a good starting point, because they can. And one track that I found kind of got me to a point of like a type of format or so, what you'd say, to actually get to the type of title. So, yeah, kind of like using that type of style or that type of way where they worded it with like some sort of things. So, what should I name it? Well, first of all, what are the characters in the movie? So we have Colton and his father. Those are two characters. And, there may be other characters that appear through the movie. But if his father is an inventor? Is he a clockmaker? How does that play into the title of the movie? And how pronounced is that that thing that he does going to play out through the movie? And does it apply to Colton, right? Because as Colton goes throughout the story, is he going to take that on? Or what does it have to do? So thinking of things like that, where you would have your character or things about the movie, or maybe it's an object in the movie that you would, or things in the movie that would kind of be, that you could use for the title to kind of relate to, if you know what I mean. So let's think of some names here. One name I will write it down here is the Clockmaker's Heir. And as we progress and digress, we will soon see if we find that this is the type of thing that kind of fits for the story. Well, we can go with something like this, or maybe change it up a bit. Like I said, I kind of got a style from a music track that I listened to and saw the title of it, because the title of it I found, and after seeing the title I was like, okay, I kind of want to see what that's about. And then obviously if I don't want to copy it, I can come up with something different, but kind of in the sense copying the type of format that the title for it did. Another one could kind of be variations of this, like let's see, you could go with the grandfather's watch. But again, how does that play into your story? Does that work with our story? Is it about grandfather's watch, or is it about the father who's a clockmaker, and his heir is the son, right? And the son is who? It's Colton. So if that's what it's about, then maybe portraying Colton in the title as well, via saying heir or the son or whatever, right? You can do it that way. But if it's more about it, maybe the object of the watch, or it can still even be about the character, but not even have to directly portray him within the title. But if you wish to do so, you can definitely go with a word to portray him. So other names could kind of just be variations of this type. So like, I don't know, let's think. The yeah, the inventors is something that we could look at. So the inventor's son. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't quite. Yeah. So the inventor's heir. And obviously, if you, there's different words and like maybe different types of words to kind of match. If you don't like heir, you can maybe find something else, right? So different words that kind of match the same premise or meaning. And I guess you just kind of go through this brainstorming process. So, now depending on when you do this, you kind of like think of your movie name, right? And then you build the movie at least somewhat off of that name, right? Well, you build the movie off the name, because if my movie is called The Clockmaker's Heir, well, then perhaps if I'm making the movie, then you could, and then you would have like the clockmaker's, he's like the heir to whoever this clockmaker is, right? And there's more things you can add in the story, and there's more that you can do, but what is your basic title that you want to capture? Why is there $3 there? Okay. So yeah, again, different variations. So just basically brainstorming, going through. If you get inspiration from a different title, you maybe perhaps that has happened to you, but again, so yeah, I guess we'll see what we end up with, and if we were to center, say, the movie around more of having the watch, right? Let's say the watch played a part. Well, then you could include that. But maybe it didn't, and it was more something different that let's say it's a father, not a grandfather, right? So, let's say there's something that the father almost was, as he's the son of Colton, right? What is he, as he brings him up, how is he teaching him? What is he showing him how to view in life? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it unique? Is it something different? Sideways to that of normal ways of viewing life? Like, what is it? And, the father's heir, the grand clockmaker's heir, whatever you want, and then you can think of a name that you like, and then just start, portraying your movie. Or maybe if you have a good story for your movie, maybe kind of get that story and build the name off of that story. And, you progress as you digress. So, yeah, I guess we'll just see what we end up with eventually, and we'll see what other movies are soon to come on the Sideways Cinema YouTube channel. But for now, I'll leave you guys with that. God bless and have a great night.